Hello, class ninth. Welcome to online learning. Today, we shall be learning a new chapter of biology, chapter 6, that is tissues. In our previous chapter of biology, that is the fundamental unit of life, we have learned that cell is the fundamental unit of all living organisms. We have also studied the classification of organisms on the basis of cells. Organisms may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular organisms are having only a single cell which is capable of performing all the functions, such as in case of amoeba, a single cell carries out movement, intake of water, food, respiration, excretion, etc. But in case of multicellular organisms, there are millions of cells. So, it's not possible for a single cell to perform all the functions. Therefore, each cells carry out only a particular function and that they do it very efficiently. In case of human beings, we have muscle cells that contract and relax to cause movement. Nerve cells carry messages. We have blood which flows to transport oxygen, food, hormones, and waste material. Similarly, in case of plants, vascular tissues like xylem and phloem, they conduct water and food from one part of the plant to other parts. So, multicellular organisms show division of labor. Cells specializing in one function are often clubbed together in the body. This means that a particular function is carried out by a cluster or group of cells at a definite place in the body. This cluster of cells is called a tissue. Moving on to the definition of tissue, a group of cells that are similar in structure and or work together to achieve a particular function forms a tissue. For example, blood, xylem, phloem, muscles, etc. all are the examples of tissues. Now the question arises, are plants and animals made up of same types of tissues? To find out its answer, let's compare the structure and functions of plants and animals. We know that plants are stationary or fixed, that is, plants cannot move from one place to another place. Therefore, most of the tissues in plants are supportive in nature, which provides them with structural strength. In case of animals they move around in search of food, shelter, and mates. So, they consume more energy as compared to plants. In case of plants, most of the tissues are dead, whereas animals they contain living tissues. The growth in plants is limited to certain regions, while this is not so in case of animals. There are some tissues in plants that divide throughout their life. These tissues are localized in certain regions only where the growth takes place. Based on the dividing capacity of the tissues, various plant tissues can be classified as growing or meristematic tissue and permanent tissue, which we will be discussed later on. Coming on to the classification of plant tissues are broadly classified into meristematic tissues and permanent tissues based on the dividing capacity of the tissues. Meristematic tissue is in turn divided into three subcategories: apical meristematic tissue or apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem. Permanent tissues are classified into two categories: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue is again subdivided into three categories: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma, whereas complex permanent tissue is divided into xylem and phloem. mesenchyma is in turn divided into chlorenchyma and aerenchyma.